that now is such an amazing time to start doubling down, building up your skills, starting to invest, starting to be frugal. You don't need to buy things for an image or buy things for a look, or, you know what I mean? Just buy things for the sake of buying. Like, one of the most high leverage activities is saving money. If you start learning about real estate investing, you're going to understand concepts that will apply to investing in almost any type of asset class. The number one place people spend most of their money is on housing. Like, oh, what deal should I be looking for? What type of deal? And honestly, there is no like type of deal. It's as long as the deal works for you. Like, initially, you just want to start casting that big net in that area, and then you can slowly work it down. That's what it's all about, just buying assets that give you a good return.
What is up, YouTube? In today's video, we're going to be talking about financial independence, retiring early, and whether 2020 is the best opportunity or the worst time to be trying to lean into the FIRE movement. We're also going to share with you some of our best practices and tips if you do want to embrace trying to reach early retirement as soon as possible. So in this video, myself and Dylan McLauchlan just catch up and share our perspective into what you can do to get control of your personal financial future in 2020. What is up, YouTube? Matt McKeever here, and we're back with Dylan McLauchlan. In today's video, we're going to be chatting about the financial independence, retire early community and movement, but more specifically, if you were to start right now during these uncertain times with COVID, social distancing, and just kind of, you know, a economic outlook that's uncertain, how would we approach trying to lean into this to build our lean FIRE plan? So one, Dylan, thanks for joining me.
Definitely, man. Thanks for having me.
And two, how would you get started right now if you were to start over? Actually, maybe before we even start talking about like starting your FIRE journey, where are you at today in case someone doesn't know about yourself and kind of your real estate investing?
Definitely, yeah. So quick preamble. I've been investing in real estate for coming up to 6 years now. Since that time, I think I've kind of hit the marker of being financially independent and maybe even in some cases financially abundant. I've been super interested in the FIRE movement and personal finance just in general for pretty much since I started working and making money. And so, yeah, I'm at a point now. I kind of came up through the construction side of things, got my apprenticeship, had like really low debt, was just grinding, hustling, working overtime, trying to save up as much money as I can and be as frugal as I can, and then started deploying that capital into real estate and building that up. And currently I'm at a point, I've got 8 real estate properties, around 24 units. My cash flow on my portfolio is almost around $10,000 per month in a good month. And you know what I mean? That stays pretty consistent. So definitely finances my lifestyle, my freedom. You know what I mean? I could choose what I want to do with things. I've mentioned on your channel earlier, I think my initial goal was $4,000 a month. So that'd be like $1,000 a week, almost to replace a job. And so, yeah, I'm even by that now, by all measures. So yeah, I would say I can officially wear the FIRE pin at this point.
Awesome. So if you were to start over right now, how would you go about it? What would you focus on, or what would be your priorities?
Yeah, so this is super exciting because this time is this is an unprecedented time. You know what I mean? We don't get these type of bear markets or these type of corrections very often. Almost once a decade they come around. So I think like just starting things off, it's really giving people the motivation and the energy and the buy-in that, you know what I mean, they got to make this happen. This is the time. And it's so important to focus and front load that work when you can, so then you can enjoy all the benefits and all the rewards that come from that, right? So that's kind of one of the big things, is just realizing that now is such an amazing time to start doubling down, building up your skills, starting to invest, starting to be frugal, and kind of using that to start. I think motivation is such a critical thing, right? So that's one thing I think about a lot. I'm still doing that even to this day, even at the point where I'm at. I'm still super excited at the opportunity that this time, that this economy is giving us, right? Like, you can choose two things. You can choose to be a victim. You can choose to look at the negative. You can, oh no, no one's going to be hiring right now. Oh no, the unemployment rate's so high. Oh no. Or you can look at it as like, hey, this is going to create amazing opportunity. This is going to turn into something great. This is kind of the gift that I'm looking for to take myself to the next level. And that's what we should all be looking for if you're on this financial journey. So kind of, yeah, that's first off. Once you got that buy-in, you get that motivation, you make that decision that this is what you're going to do. Then I think really it comes down to initially one of the easiest, most high leverage habits and activities you can do is really starting by starting through frugality is looking at the amount of money you're spending at your expenses and seeing what you can do without and what you can pare down and everything like that. Now, I'm not one of those people that thinks that you should really put yourself through a massive amount of suffering in terms of being frugal, in terms of not spending money. I think you should still enjoy life and do the things you want to do, but you want to be smart about it. You don't need to buy things for an image or buy things for a look, or just buy things for the sake of buying, like all this retail therapy stuff you hear about. It's like, man, you don't even need retail therapy. Like, you probably don't even need therapy. You just need to kind of do the work. You just need to look at yourself. You just need to think things through and solve the problem. So with that being said, I think really one of the most high leverage activities is saving money, because the saying, like a penny saved is a penny earned. Well, actually, like a penny saved is more than a penny earned. Like a penny earned, you're getting taxed on, and depending on your marginal tax rate, you're maybe getting 30% of that already cut out. So saving is just such an easy way to really increase your savings rate, increase the amount of gunpowder that you do have to invest and do deals, increase the opportunities that you have, and also it gives you a great foundation to work from, because if you can get by being frugal and still being comfortable doing what you want to do, then really you don't have any worries. Even I think this whole COVID situation is going to be a massive shift in people's thought processes, because you're going to have some people that I have a lot of tenants right now who literally, for them, being off work, being able to hang out, being able to do what they want to do, they're actually enjoying it. It's a benefit to them. They're getting maybe some government stimulus money. I'm not saying that's the position you want to be in. I think you have to be continuing to work, continuing to better yourself, forging that steel through that constant heat and constant pressure. But at the same time, if you always know that even in a worst case scenario, that's what you're going to default to, then it gives you a lot of freedom to actually pursue the things you want to do, pursue bigger deals, pursue that time to work on a skill and potentially take a new job prospect or things like that. So yeah, base of frugality, then you can start increasing your income a little bit. Let's say you're negotiating higher salary at work or kind of moving laterally. I'm not a huge fan of trying to completely maximize your job income. I think you really start to see a diminishing return, especially if you're kind of a W-2 or a T4 employee. You do start to see a diminishing return. And I could go into that. It's a whole separate topic in terms of corporate politics and how kind of people, it's not going to be a linear growth of your wage if you're an employee, unless you're a commission-based position like a salesperson or something like that. There's going to be a time where the effort that you're putting out, the amount of responsibilities on your plate, you're not going to be properly rewarded and paid for those. So that's why once you have the frugality, once you got a comfortable, solid, decent job, with good wage or everything like that, that's when I think it starts to make a lot of sense to start building up your side hustle and to start doing whatever kind of hustle you can. Investing, a lot of people get into this. Actually, it's been interesting with this whole COVID thing. If you look at the Google Trends for people searching for how to buy stock, it spiked up, right? Because everyone's like, oh, buy the dip. But man, if you only got $10,000 of savings, buying stocks isn't going to change your life at all. That's not going to be a big return. Once you're making $10,000 a month, which you can deploy to buy assets, then yeah, that's when you really get the compound effect playing in. But I recommend people get their job, get good finances, then building the side hustle. So money's coming in really well. And then from that, that's when you start to become the investor. Once you have those big excesses of capital. Side tangent, that's why I think real estate is just a great avenue to get into, because not only is real estate very practical from a lifestyle sense, but it also satisfies a side hustle as well as an investment vehicle very easily. If you start learning about real estate investing, you're going to understand concepts that will apply to investing in almost any type of asset class. So I'm sure people are already drinking the Kool-Aid if they're watching your channel, but I think real estate is a great side hustle for anyone to consider, unless obviously you have competitive advantages that would allow you to get into another type of niche. Like if you're a software guy, you're always on the computer, or if you have other expertise in other areas. But yeah, I would say that's kind of the blueprint, if you will.
Mm-hmm. So let's dive a little bit deeper into the details then of the blueprint. So when focusing first on frugality, where should they be flexing that frugality muscle? Is there certain spending categories or areas they'd be best to focus on?
Yeah, definitely. There's a book called Set for Life, which kind of breaks out in general where people spend most of their money. And so, funny enough, the number one place people spend most of their money is on housing or shelter. And so, once again, that coincidentally works amazing with real estate investing because as a real estate investor, you're going to be learning how to buy and transact with shelters. So that's huge. That's the largest place where people spend most of their money. And that can be up to 30 to even 50% of their income can go into their shelter.
Cashflow Tribe. Hey YouTube, have you checked out Cashflow Tribe yet? It doesn't matter whether you're an experienced, seasoned investor or brand new to the game. I can probably predict if you're currently not having the level of success you want as a real estate investor, it's due to one thing. That one thing is you're not making enough offers, plain and simple. You need to be making more offers as a real estate investor if you want to hit those big, audacious goals that you're setting for yourself. So here's the deal. Cashflow Tribe, that's the community that myself and Ben were making together. And so Ben's actually so busy trying to provide value to you guys that he had to take off there. But here's the deal. Cashflow Tribe is really a one-of-a-kind community focused on results. That's the difference between us and everyone else. We want to get you guys those results. I'm tired of seeing people commenting on my YouTube channel for 2-3 years now, but they're not making offers. What's holding you back? I'm going to guess that it's either a lack of confidence or a lack of competence. And we cover both of those things in Cashflow Tribe. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make you guys a 14-day free trial offer. You can join Cashflow Tribe completely free, get it tested out. If you like it, great, stay and pay. If you don't, well, I hope you at least find one great idea that you can take away and use to start making more offers, gain more deals, and finally start making the money related to real estate investing that's probably why you're watching my YouTube channel. So let's do this, guys. Let's make 2020 your year.
Cashflow Tribe. The number one place people spend most of their money is on housing or shelter. And so once again, that coincidentally works amazing with real estate investing because as a real estate investor, you're going to be learning how to buy and transact with shelters. So that's huge. That's the largest place where people spend most of their money. And that can be up to 30 to even 50% of their income can go into their shelter. So I really recommend paring that down as much as you can. If you can house hack, then by all means, I almost recommend this to all my friends and any associates who are kind of curious about getting into it. Like a house hack is such a high leverage, easy move that you can do that it'll teach you so much experience. It'll set you up so well financially. So yeah, house hack is kind of the no-brainer, biggest leverage point that you can move on. The next thing would be, so I think it was housing was number one. And then I believe transportation cost was number two that people are paying. So with that one, honestly, just don't avoid the pitfall. Don't buy the, $60,000 truck when you don't even work in construction. Don't buy the like flex lifestyle car. Don't lease some kind of crazy vehicle or, buy brand new and try to add all these packages. Just either buy an economy car, like Honda Civic, kind of Ford Focus, kind of entry level, Hyundai Accent, shout out for the guys who I know love those. Or you could, if you're in an area which doesn't necessitate a car, then you could even consider just Ubering around and things like that. If you're in more of a metropolitan area in Ontario or specifically London, Ontario, we kind of have a bit more ground to cover, so it's not really feasible in this area. But if you could get away without even using a car, then you're going to save tons of money. That's a huge win. And then finally, like the next, transportation. And once again, actually, you could even live close to where you work or live close to where you do everything. So you're building some efficiencies. Great way to efficiently save money, but also improve your lifestyle, save time. Then the third one is third spending category is food. And so, yeah, once again, just don't eat out every week or something like that, or every day. Once a week you can if you're reasonable. But just try to meal prep if you can. I find meal prepping not only saves time, it allows you to eat healthier than most people usually do, and it's cost effective. So, multiple wins you're stacking there. And then finally, like the fourth category is entertainment. And so the funny thing is that if you really nail the first three, if you have cheap living, if you don't overspend on your vehicle or your transportation, and if you're not like blowing all your money on like food or snacks or alcohol or dumb things like that, then you can literally, I believe in the book, people were spending about 5% of their income or less on entertainment. So literally you could triple your entertainment budget. Like, I don't recommend you cut back on entertainment. Like, if there's certain things you love to do entertainment wise, you can do them, but cut back on the things that like really will suck all your money. You know, even if you doubled your entertainment bill, even if you tripled it, as long as you're saving in the big categories, you're still going to come out ahead financially. And like, the entertainment one is the one that you actually really enjoy for life. Like, the entertainment one is the one that you remember. You remember like the activities you do with friends. You remember like those crazy nights out, or you remember like that awesome movie that you got to see on the IMAX theater. So I would recommend, like, don't even worry too much about paring down the entertainment, as long as you've got all the other big pieces in place.
Awesome. Yeah, I love it. So let's move on then to income. So at what point should people try and increase their income to before pivoting and focusing on, say, side hustles, in your opinion? I know for myself, I naturally default to thinking, get some sort of skill set where you can earn at least the median income for your area or region. Then after that, it might start to have diminishing returns depending upon your initial skill set. But I'd love to hear where your thought process is, Dylan.
Sweet. Yeah. And I like the way you look at that too. That definitely makes a lot of sense, because it gives you such a good safety net. The way I kind of break this down, I can't wait to just get lit up in the comments about this, because this would be kind of my personal thoughts on the matter. But so here in London, Ontario, our minimum wage is about $15 an hour. So, I mean, $15 to $20 an hour, you should be able to get no problem, you know? So almost any job you can walk into, you should be able to get that range depending on kind of the job responsibilities. Then you start getting into $20 to $30 an hour. And I find 20 to 30 seems to kind of be like the no man's land, I find, where you can have people that have no experience, but then in certain sectors, they're willing to pay almost closer to $30 an hour. Then you can have other sectors where people have university degrees and have massive amounts of education and massive amounts of work experience and are handling massively complex tasks. And they're still they're barely making the high end of the $20 an hour scale. So I find around that part is where you start to see a little bit of the competition. It really depends on the niche or the sector that you're working in, because once again, the sector is going to have kind of pre-established wages that people are going to be paid, and that's going to be based on a multitude of things. So I think that's when you start to max out. It's kind of similar to what you were saying, Matt, about the median income of your area. That's where you do really start to see diminishing returns in many sectors. However, if you do want to take it a step further, you can be smart about certain sectors where you are able to make a little bit more money. Now, typically those are less desirable jobs. And so, for example, like I'll use myself as an example, the construction field is typically a little bit less desirable than other areas, because it is, sometimes miserable work, sometimes it's very physically demanding, things like that make a lot of people not want to get into it. So in the construction, you can typically start to make a little bit more money, especially if you're a hard worker. Additionally, you have access to overtime and things like that, where they'll pay you a premium for working extra or working maybe awkward hours. So yeah, once you get into 30, I think the range starts to really diminish. I would shoot your sights, especially if you're a motivated, intelligent individual who's willing to work hard and also play the political game well. I would try to aim my sights at getting into the $30 an hour bracket. But really, once you get into there, yeah, the wage starts to diminish a little bit. I think once you start getting into $40 an hour, if you hit that, then that's pretty solid. Once again, depending if you're a super specialized field or have lots of education or schooling, then maybe it's typical to get paid way beyond that in your area. But yeah, once you start hitting, like, that's even the thing too. Once you're hitting like $40 to $50 an hour, then potentially you're breaking six figures a year. And so then now you're bumped into a whole new tax bracket. And so you're getting taxed even more heavily on that money. So I guess I didn't even touch on that before, the tax ramifications when you start making more money as a T4 or W2 employee. So yeah, you really do start to see a lot of those diminishing returns, and you don't have the control, and you kind of get a little bit golden handcuffs too once you start making that much higher wage. So yeah, honestly, like, I guess this is, if I had to like plant a stake, I would say like the $30 to $45 an hour range. Like, once you're there, man, like, you're doing pretty good for a job income. And then you might as well start building your own business outside of that.
All right, let's move on to building the business outside of that then. So obviously both of us have a bias towards real estate. You might as well run with the concept. If you were right now going to be building up your real estate portfolio, what would be the approach you would be taking?
Oh, that's a good question. Yeah, it's pretty much what I'm doing now. And I think it all depends on, this can change from a month to month kind of standpoint, really depending on the economy. A lot of people ask me like, oh, what deal should I be looking for? What type of deal? And honestly, there is no like type of deal. It's as long as the deal works for you. With that being said, I think it's very easy to focus on the bread and butter of real estate investing. So that's where we start looking at, let's say, single family homes and small multifamily, right? That's very easy, very beginner friendly. Anyone can start analyzing those deals, looking at them, and potentially getting into financing them relatively easy. So yeah, I would just start looking at those type of properties. Then you can get a little bit more granular and start breaking it down and like, well, am I doing like big fixer uppers? How much renovations am I typically doing on a job? How large are the purchases that I'm making? What kind of price points? Things like that. That's kind of all the minutia and the granular. And I wouldn't, like, as you start searching and start putting that work in, you'll start to dial down on what you need to focus on. But like initially, you just want to start casting that big net in that area, and then you can slowly work it down. Like, obviously, depending on economic forces. For example, when real estate's very hot and things are getting overbid, then it just forces you to have to get properties that are maybe in a worse shape and have worse tenants and put more work into them, because obviously rundown properties are going to sell at a discount because people can't see a finished product and people don't want to put in that kind of work, even if the potential's there. So there's going to be a limited buyer pool. So yeah, like, really, I wouldn't recommend going too far outside of the bread and butter of your multifamily, maybe single family real estate. And then you can kind of start to niche down a little bit, make smaller jumps. Like, once again, an Airbnb, if you're getting into that market and playing that strategy, or things of that nature. But yeah, that's probably where I would be at right now. If I had to start looking forward, I would say there are going to be potentially more opportunities coming into some commercial and mixed use spaces, especially with the way COVID is starting to affect things in the economy. You're seeing Amazon just gobble up more of the market share, and you're seeing bigger corporations are starting to take more of the market share. And especially, I'm sure going forward in the next couple months, you're going to see some small businesses feeling the pain, maybe starting to, maybe some are going to be going bankrupt and stuff like that. So you might see a benefit in small mixed use, like commercial with residential multifamily. And especially if you're getting started and you have that flexibility, maybe there's kind of a play that you can do where, you're able to utilize some of that commercial space and also live at the building and things like that. Could be a little bit of a tricky way when you're getting started. Actually, this was something I was considering years back when I was getting started. I was always analyzing deals of this type because at the time when you're getting started, you're flexible enough and you're hungry enough to kind of work into a flexible situation. So that could be an interesting niche to open up. But just do your research, man. Just run the numbers, because at the end of the day, if the deal makes sense and makes you money, then yeah, you should go for it. Yeah, that's what it's all about, just buying assets that give you a good return.
Yeah, I think the real key for anyone looking to start that side hustle or get into real estate investing to build up passive income is having clarity on what you're trying to accomplish. I think way too often people get into it with fuzzy goals. And the problem with fuzzy goals is it's very difficult to decide what choices or what decisions are the right choices to help you accomplish that fuzzy goal. So, for example, in my opinion, get rich with real estate investing is a bad goal. It's maybe an okay starting goal, but then we need to drill down and get way more specific with it. Like, I want to create $5,000 a month in passive income from real estate investing. It's such a better goal, in my opinion, because we can actually start reverse engineering that goal. Where something generic like rich or wealthy or make money, it's too soft, too fuzzy.
We all want that. Like, it's everybody.
Yeah.
Man. Actually, but I was just thinking of a good point there, is that there's a slight difference with starting a real estate business, is that you're more investing in real estate. Like, real estate is investing and it's a business. It's kind of a bit of both. So from the investment side of things, well, you want to get maybe, let's say, over 15% return on your capital, right? Because in an investment world, it's all about return on investment, ROI. But in a business side, it is a little bit different, because yeah, you could start flipping, you could start doing bursts, things like that. So one thing I will also recommend as well is potentially, even if you want to get into the real estate space, just start doing renovations for people. Let's say on weekends or after work hours, just talk to investors, get a couple proficiencies. Like, let's say you're good at tiling, or you're good at doing drywall, or you're good at let's say carpentry or framing, right? Just get a couple base proficiencies, be willing to work hard, be willing to get the job done. And then that can be like your side hustle. You can just make some side cash They'll teach you how to work. They'll teach you how to renovate. And you can do that kind of on the sly at just like a super small scale. That is kind of like, I wouldn't quite be a business because once again, unless you're trying to take on employees, it's still, you're kind of just built yourself a job. But that way you kind of start dipping your toe into the operational income that you can make from doing renovations on real estate and refinancing and things like that.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Love it.
Yeah.
Thanks again, Dylan. Thanks again to Dylan for taking the time to shoot this video with me. If you guys would like to see more FIRE videos, more videos focused on early retirement, what I need you to do is jump in that comment section and give us your feedback. If you didn't know, we committed to making a YouTube video a day in 2020, but what we make of those videos is really up to you guys. So if you want to see us do more FIRE content, more lean FIRE, more early retirement, let us know. If you want more real estate, let us know. At the end of the day, we just want to provide you value.